Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you my simple overview steps on how to properly SEO your Amazon product listing. Now, if your Amazon product isn't getting the sales that you think it deserves, then this video is for you. I'm going to run through my 10 most important steps that'll help you make sure that your listing and product is found on Amazon, and secondly, will help you convert those visitors into buyers. Before I jump into that, I want to mention instant access to my free ebook on my 7-step framework on how I launch knockout products on Amazon. Just click the link below and you'll get instant access. One thing to keep in mind when you're optimizing your listing on Amazon is that most people don't start their search for a product on Amazon. Their search starts online. So your Amazon listing needs to contain all of the relevant keywords in order to be found in search, only to then get the click to lead them over to Amazon. Amazon does an incredible job at indexing your listings and the keywords onto Google for obvious reasons. Now, don't get me wrong, there are tons, and tons is an understatement, but tons of searches that begin just on Amazon. And I think this goes without saying. And for reference, Amazon's search algorithm is called A9, so I'll reference that in the video. One thing that you need to keep in mind is that Amazon has two main concerns. Main concern number one is their buyers, and main concern number two is selling products. Notice how I didn't mention sellers were a main concern of Amazon's. So as we go through this list, I want you to keep two things in mind. Sales are king, and reviews will be our queen. Like many others, I'm going to begin my list with keywords, then followed by titles, inventory levels, price, images, product reviews, FBA, seller account, brand registry, and Amazon PPC. Now, let's head over to the computer and I'll run through my list. Okay, number one, keywords. Now, people don't necessarily search differently on the internet that they do on Amazon. Let me show you this. And I'm going to do a search for hair dryer on Google. And I bet pretty quickly here is a Amazon listing. Amazon indexes very well for obvious reasons. But the same search that I would do on Google is what I'm going to do right on Amazon. Let's see if I'll stop that so I can type this in. Dryer. Right, it's the same search that I'm going to do. So you can use, and I always like to provide some free tools to find keywords, and then obviously I will show you some paid versions. So the first one that I use, and I use this all the time, I absolutely love Keywords Everywhere. It is a browser plugin. I have it in Chrome. It's right over here, and you can see if I go just back to a Google search and I start to type in, well, here it is, so hair dryer, right? It gives me the volume, 4,500 monthly searches, gives me what the cost per click is, competition level. It starts to give me related keyword information. I have all kinds of stuff, and I can export this right to a CSV so that I can start to manipulate it and upload it to my Amazon listing or wherever it is I need to use it. So Keywords Everywhere is a great one to use. Now, once I start to get a few of these keywords in, I come over to another keyword tool that I just love, and I use the free version of this. They have paid versions, but if we come over here and type in hair dryer, this is going to give me keyword suggestions. It's going to start to give me these monthly search volumes, etc. But then I can come over here and filter just by, in this case, by. So buyer's intent, right? You can see the little deal here. User intent is buy. So hair dryer for women's, hair dryer for women, hair dryer reviews, hair dryer for men, cheap hair dryer, etc. These are all buying keywords that people type into Google and Amazon, etc. to find what they're looking for when they have buying intent. So twin word ideas is a good one. Another one, and I could probably mention 50 of them here real quick, but no need to. Another one that is a paid subscription is, and I think it's $30 a month. I've used it in the past, and now I just use these guys, Merchant Words. And Merchant Words claims that it taps into and gets keywords from Amazon's database. So if you're looking for something that is a paid solution, Merchant Keywords is a great one. These keywords are going to be paramount in your title, in your description, bullet points, and your back-end section on your Amazon listing. Let me show you real quick a listing, and I have a series of hair dryers we're going to go over here, but you can see here we have in our title, obviously we want to use some keywords. I'll go over title in a minute. In our bullet points here, if we come down here to our description, we want to use our keywords in here, and then, like I said, obviously on the back end. Number 2 is going to be our title, our description, and our bullet points. All of the front end on page things that we need to worry about. I mentioned the back end keywords a second ago under the keyword section number 1, but this really has to do with writing a proper title, having a proper bullet point section, and then really having a proper product description down here. So your title, for instance, it needs to contain all the keywords that you need and certain other elements, but it needs to read naturally, because at the end of the day, it's a human that's going to be clicking on this. So you don't want it to be so mechanical and unnatural. It does need to appeal to the A9 algorithm to show up, because the title is super important in getting ranked. However, it still needs to be natural. Some of the things that you need to include in the title are the product name, right? And you can use a keyword, Amazon keyword search match, right? So if we're looking up hairdryer, if you have a diffuser, and you can see here too, see here's keywords everywhere, 4,500 searches a month for hairdryer, only 1,400 for with diffuser. Brush has 6,600. Hairdryer diffuser has 1,200, so that's way better than with diffuser. So this is where keywords everywhere kind of comes in handy, but you can see these are direct search results right inside of Amazon's interface. I would lead the title with the keyword. Start with the keyword. It's what people searched for. It's the first thing they're going to see in your title, so it makes that relevant to them. And then you can follow it up by the Conair, the brand. Another thing that's important in the title is the material it's made out of, is the color, particularly if this says this has a rainbow finish, or if it was a pack size, not necessarily a hair dryer, but I don't know, milk bottles, right? 6 milk bottles, you know, pack of 6. You know, you want to put those type of descriptive elements into the title. So moving down to the bullet points. The bullet points, let me jump over to another listing that I have. Oh, I was just crazy about hair dryers. You want this first part of the bullet point to be in all caps, and it needs to be your keyword. Don't just start writing little things about it. This is your opportunity to write a very feature-rich, keyword-rich, but not overstuffed keyword. Use different ones so that you rank for multiple keywords. But you want this to be visually appealing to people. And people don't necessarily read everything either. They will definitely read this. Ultra powerful, 2 speeds, 3 temperatures, easy cleaning, easy clean filter, perfect gift, satisfaction guarantee. So they talk about their guarantee. This happens to be a really good listing because it is including a lot of the elements both in the title and in the bullet point section. And now on to the description. You can see in this particular one, product description, these guys have their brand registered, which I'll mention a little bit later. So they have a much fuller, richer product description. But let me jump back over to a standard product description right here. Product description. This is just a wall of text. Nobody is going to read this. Write your product description. Come over to this website called word.html, and you can paste your product description into here. and you can come in here wherever your main points are, right? Break this up into paragraphs, boom, like this, so that people can read it, and then hit HTML. You just copy all of this, paste it right into your product description, and it will look like this, right? With bullet points. It's much easier to read. You can bold format certain elements on it so it draws in people's eyes, even at lower temperatures. So this, they could have just pasted right into the back end in the product section. It makes it so much easier to read. More people will read it and you will get a greater benefit for it. Number 3, inventory levels. Inventory levels are obviously a ranking factor, and you want to try to keep a minimum of 30-day to 60-day inventory levels. If you get to the point where your inventory, if you're ranking well and your inventory levels get down to near zero, Amazon is going to push you way down the list. Why? Because sales are king. And if you got no product to sell, then Amazon doesn't have any time for you. So inventory levels are important. It's not so easy if Amazon pushes you down the list for you to just replenish your inventory and then automatically be right back up where you were before you ran out of inventory. Number 4, price. There's no need to have huge gaps in price differential between you and your competitors. You're never going to get all the sales, so be realistic about that. Come over here and you can see that there are 15 sellers that are selling new on this. You want to be within 2% of the lowest competitor price. And if there are several of you that are within 2%, you will get an equal share of the sales. So if this thing sells 10 times a month and there are 5 of you within 2% of the lowest price, each of you are going to get 2 sales a month. If someone does a fire sale and somebody has one of these for, I don't know, $5, right? Don't worry about that guy and don't chase that guy all the way down the line. He is either going to, and it's actually good news, he's either going out of business, which is going to be a short-term deal. Once he sells off inventory, he'll be gone, or he is going to just try to game the ranking algorithm by making a whole bunch of sales in a short amount of time to increase his rank. So either way, his price isn't going to stay low forever. If you have multiple products that you sell and that price is fluctuating a lot, one of the ways that you can automatically adjust your prices is by using an app that connects to Amazon. You can set your pricing thresholds in the system, and it'll automatically, based on your competitors, increase or decrease your price so that you stay competitive in pricing for sales. This used to be called App Eagle. It's now called informed.co. It does cost money, but again, if you're managing multiple products that you need to stay very competitive for. Number 5, product images. Oh my gosh. I talk about product images and how important these things are all the time. Images are super important, both for the A9 algorithm and for conversions. You can see this in my video on Amazon seller mistakes to avoid when I talk about images. So check that out. It'll be in the link below. Amazon's minimum requirement for images is 1,000 pixels, but they also have a zoom feature on the product page, and you want to be able to take advantage of that. So make sure your images are somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 pixels. This not only helps in the A9 algorithm, because Google takes that into consideration, but it greatly helps with conversions when customers are able to zoom in and really see your product. Also, when you take your product photos or have them taken, be sure and show the product in action if you can, if it's the type of product. But, if it's a hairdryer, have a model blowing her hair dry or using the features. This goes a really, really long way. And lastly, on images, use a file name that describes what the image is, like hairdryer-leftview.jpg instead of img362.jpg. Amazon also indexes this information, as does Google use it in their image search. Product reviews. Like I mentioned earlier, if sales are king, then product reviews are our queen. And you can see here, this guy has 4.4 stars out of 5, which is great. People put a lot of faith in social feedback. You also need to respond to negative reviews, because if you don't tell your side of the story, then whatever they say is the truth. So listings with more positive reviews rank higher. That's why I use Blackbird Suite. You can see here they have a system that allows you to get reviews, email your customers, etc., and set up a series. You could also use a tool like Feedback Genius from Seller Labs, or there are several more. But what I like about doing this is I set up a series of emails to my customer. So the day that they buy a product, I send them out a thank you email, a little bit of information. The day it ships, I send the shipping information. And 3 days after that, I send an email asking for a review. All along the while, I include in my emails little tips on how to use the product, or maybe a digital owner's manual of the product. Just little things to help the customer out along the way. And then when they do receive that email from me, I get 10 times the amount of positive feedback that I did prior to implementing a system like this. And it's so easy to do. Number 7, FBA. Now, FBA isn't necessarily an on-page optimization trick or an SEO factor, but we have found that selling via FBA increases our amount of sales that we make over products that we send directly. And we've tested this extensively. And there's no published information about FBA. Amazon doesn't publish anything or acknowledge this, but our product sales are definitely higher as a result of using FBA. Number 8, a professional seller's account. Now, there are many features that come with a professional seller's account that are a benefit over and above an individual seller account. But the only one that I'm going to mention on this list is that professional seller's account are the only ones that are eligible to receive the buy box. And the buy box accounts for 80% of all the sales on Amazon. So wrap your head around that. Number 9, brand registry. Now, I know there are a lot of hoops to jump through with brand registry, and maybe it's not for you right now, but products that have their brands registered are allowed to create a much more fleshed out product page with obviously bigger pictures, more information, etc. And they lead to, brand registry products lead to a 45% conversion increase over standard pages. Number 10. Amazon pay-per-click. Now, pay-per-click can lead to an increase in sales in a very short amount of time. And what will this do? Since sales is king on Amazon, it's going to boost our ranking. One of the things that you want to be sure and do if you start out, especially if you're new starting out with pay-per-click on Amazon, just take a few of your main keywords, put them into the system and set them up and run with them. Don't try to do 100 keywords and manage it all. You can find yourself pretty quickly running into a rabbit hole of trouble. So just stick with the top 2 or 3 or 4, practice on that, and see, once you get good at that, you can go for more words after that. I hope that you found this video useful and you're able to use my 10-step process on optimizing your Amazon product listings. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to be notified of future updates. Download my 7-step framework ebook on how I launch knockout products on Amazon. And don't forget to check out my video on seller mistakes to avoid on Amazon. Thanks.